Rights groups have called out Asian leaders gathering in Bangkok over a leaked report on the repatriation of Rohingya refugees, which downplays the Burmese military's crackdown on the Muslim minority. Nearly 24 Rohingya organizations and civil societies from around the world voiced concerns over the leaked report from ASEAN's Emergency Response and Action Team, ERAT. In a joint statement, 23 rights groups on June 20th criticized ERAT's preliminary needs assessment on the repatriation of approximately 1 million Rohingya refugees now in Bangladesh for being tailored to please the Myanmar government. The report drastically overestimated the ease and equity with which Rohingyas can return to Burma. We call upon leaders and representatives from ASEAN nations to insist upon re-evaluation, replanning, and work towards implementation of a just and safe plan for the Rohingyas, the ASEAN civil societies and Rohingya organizations said in a statement. The report at times reads more as if it is designed to please the government of Burma than a product from members of a reputable institution, the statement said. There is no mention of the well-documented genocide perpetrated by the Myanmar security forces that drove 740,000 Rohingyas to Bangladesh in 2017, it read. The groups also denounced the 56-page-long report for not using the term Rohingya, which is a sensitive matter in Myanmar, as most view them as illegal immigrants from Bangladesh and refer to them as Bengalis. The statements was released as ASEAN leaders, including Myanmar's State Councillor Aung San Suu Kyi, began gathering in Bangkok, Thailand for 34th ASEAN Summit, where the repatriation of Rohingya refugees was expected to be on the agenda. Rights groups, the ASEAN Parliamentarians for Human Rights, the Asian Forum for Human Rights and Development, and Progressive Voice added their voice, calling on ASEAN leaders at the meeting to prioritize Rohingya rights and safety. The European Union, EU, has announced a fund of 18 million euros to help improve resilience among both the Rohingya refugees and the Bangladeshi host communities in Cox's Bazar. Over 288,000 children and families of both the communities will be benefited as a part of the EU-supported United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF program titled Building Rohingya Refugee and Host Community Resilience. Rens J. Turnik, EU Ambassador to Bangladesh, made the announcement during an event held at a hotel in Dhaka on Thursday. Ternink said the funding would help to improve resilience among the Rohingya refugees as well as the local host communities in Cox's Bazar, the district along Bangladesh-Myanmar border. The project, which was launched in January this year and is expected to end by 2021, is focused on 4 key areas of nutrition, water, sanitation and hygiene, education and child protection. The host communities and the forcibly displaced Rohingyas will equally share the benefits of the project, which especially prioritizes women having children. We need to act decisively to secure a better future for all who are affected by the refugee crisis. With this strategic support, we aim to ensure continuity between humanitarian and development actions for the Rohingyas and Bangladeshi communities, she said. We shall tackle the underlying issues to improve access to water, education, child protection, and food and nutrition security in Cox's Bazar. Our aim is to strengthen local development efforts and reduce the need for humanitarian assistance in the future. The support from the EU allows us to address the issue of resilience in a holistic manner, integrating and harmonizing services for the delivery of better results for Rohingya and Bangladeshi children, adolescents, and families, Tomo Huzumi, UNICEF representative in Bangladesh, said. At the same time, the situation remains critical with 1.2 million people, Rohingyas, requiring humanitarian assistance in one of Bangladesh's poorest and most vulnerable districts. The EU will fund the lion's share of the project, 15 million euros or about Taka 143 crore, while UNICEF will contribute the rest of the fund. Home to some 2.3 million people, Cox's Bazar is one of the most vulnerable districts to natural disasters in Bangladesh, including cyclones, flooding and landslides caused by monsoon rains and the impact of climate change. Around 33% people in the coastal district live below the poverty line, where education indicators are among the lowest in the country, with the primary school completion rate standing standing at 55%. More than half of the girls are married off before the age of 18, and close to 50,000 children are engaged in child labor. The district records very high rates of malnutrition. 1 in every 2 children suffers from stunting due to poor maternal nutrition and the lack of adequate infant feeding and care practices.